Greetings from Fairview, Tennessee. Welcome to the Fairview Social Podcast. I am back. It's been a little bit of a hiatus here for the past few weeks. Had some stuff going on, nothing major or anything like that, but I think the past couple of episodes you might have noticed that I'm redoing Holliswood Studios here, painting, rearranged, made things a little bit more spacious in here, a little bit more room for guests to spread out. I do not have a circle table, as many have requested. I cannot build a circle table. I built this table, so there's that. Maybe in the future I'll get a circle table. So the guests that I've had that have complained about my table, maybe in the future. Let's see, what else? I went on vacation a couple weeks ago. That was interesting. We'll talk about that in a second. And then last week I guess I got some kind of funk while I was in Florida because I hadn't felt well for the past week. I'm kind of getting over whatever that sickness was, but I feel a lot better now. So I've been away for a little bit. For you, one person that has been listening, maybe two, I don't know. I have not gone anywhere. I'm here, just been a little bit busy. I went to Florida a couple weeks ago, and it was funny because we went through Alabama and visited a cave, which I'm a big fan of caves. I don't know what it is about them. I just think that they're crazy, very interesting. The cave that we went to was okay. I don't remember which one it was. It was in Alabama. But about 20 minutes from that cave, Nikki set up a meeting with a fella whose name is Tim Hollis, which I thought was really funny. In the factory, the factory in Franklin, there's this gift shop in there, and it's got a bunch of Tennessee and, just Franklin and surrounding area, just little crap that you put around your house, little trinkets and stuff like that. And there was a book in there called Tennessee Signs or something like that, where it's just, talking about the history of some of the Tennessee signs, and the guy that wrote it was Tim Hollis. And we saw it in there, and it was funny. Nikki went and bought it, I don't know, a few months ago. I haven't read the book, but we just thought it was cool that there was another Tim Hollis involved there. So when we went to this place in Alabama, I said, "Is this the same Tim Hollis?" And she's like, "I don't think that it is." But it turns out that it was the same Tim Hollis, because when we got to his house, he had a stack of books that he had written, just about collectibles and stuff like that. But the reason that we went there was because he's got a bunch of 80s and 90s memorabilia, just stuff that he's collected. And so he had this little house that was like right off the road. You would have never even known what it looked like on the inside. It was huge. He built on this warehouse, dug out a basement, and then another, a floor that's level with his house that's just full of, some would call junk, others would say memorabilia, but there was just a lot of it. It was wall-to-wall, huge warehouse type area. So we were talking to him. He invited us into his house, and we're talking to him in his kitchen or his dining room area. We signed a guest book, and I was like, I don't know about this house here. Where's all this stuff at? It's just kind of a weird situation. And like I said, it was right off the road, just like, it could have been in my neighborhood here, just, a guy in a house with a lot of stuff. And so we were talking to him there in his dining room area, And he's like, okay, well, are you ready to see the museum? He called it his museum. I guess it was a museum of a bunch of collectible things. But anyway, so he opens this door that would go out into a patio normally, like a French door would open up and you'd have a patio out there. He opens it and it's just so much stuff, more stuff than you could ever imagine. Just filled this whole warehouse. He had all the tin lunch boxes with the thermoses included. It's the collectors want to make sure that the thermos that came with it was in there. And it's funny because he had a bunch of them that did not have the thermos, but he put the thermos that went to the lunchbox out beside it. And then some of them were missing, so he knew which ones to go, to go after. So yeah, he had a bunch of lunch boxes, books that I remember that my grandmother had when I was a kid, just tons and tons of books, just all over the place. I mean, all these little hand puppets. He had McDonald's memorabilia, KFC memorabilia, and I don't know. It's funny that I'm thinking of those two or three things, but there's just so much stuff. It was very sensory overload. It's kind of like when you go to Buc-ee's. I don't know if anybody here has ever gone to Buc-ee's, but you walk into Buc-ee's and it's just like immediate. There's just so much stuff in there and so much stuff going on. It's just sensory overload. So yeah, he was really nice. He was an older guy. We got a few pictures together. That was fun. He was kind of quirky. He was in children's television programming when he was in his working years. I believe he's retired now. But he goes around and he collects every piece of this stuff. It's not just, he has people go out and find it. Like over the 60-something years of his life, he's just gone and collected all this stuff. So it's pretty cool. Check him out. He's in Alabama, around Montgomery, Alabama. So we did that. And then we went to the beach, Pensacola Beach. That's usually where we go because it seems like that's the quickest beach to get to. But we stayed we usually get like a condo or something, but we got a hotel. Mainly because they had a lazy river, and I guess the vision was I was going to sit in this lazy river in an inner tube and just float around all day with a drink in my hand, which in my mind, and I'm pretty sure your mind, that sounds lovely, and that sounds like a great vacation. But reality is that there was 5 million kids, so it's impossible to float around in the lazy river with a drink in your hand. We got in it every now and then, but it was very hard to do that. But there's this place down there called Flounders. I don't know if anybody's ever been there, but that place, man, I'd go there every day. I'd go there if there was one down the road here. I'd go there every day. We went there most nights or lunches for food because I don't know, it just felt authentic. It felt like you were on the beach eating seafood and doing all that kind of stuff. So I like that place. I thought it was awesome. We ate there a lot, had some drinks in the bar in the hotel, but honestly, we didn't really do anything. And maybe I'm just bad at vacationing, is what I've told people as I've gotten back, because I just don't know. I know that the point of going to the beach is to sit around and do nothing. And we did. We went to the beach and we hung out and, we went and got in the ocean and we went swimming and we did the lazy river. We went and saw a movie. But that's like the major things that we did in a week of being gone. And we saw Tim Hollis, Other Tim Hollis. But I don't know if anybody else has this problem, but I don't know how to relax and unwind. In years past, I used to be concerned about work or worried about what's going on at work and that I need to be there. There's always going to be somebody needing something from you from work. So I think that I've gotten over all of that. I think I've gotten over all that over the years, but I think now it's just more of I don't know. I guess I don't know how to relax. So I don't feel rested and I don't feel relaxed. I felt like we got back and went right back into work, and that was it. It's just spent a lot of money on hotel and all that kind of stuff. I don't know. Maybe I'm overthinking it, but anyway, I guess I'm just a bad vacationer. That Saturday we got back. Those of you that know me and know that Nikki and I have been taking care of my grandfather for several years. He was living with me. And then last December, he went into assisted living. But it's like every single week, there's some kind of issue or some kind of hospital visit, some kind of something. We were able to get away for a little bit, but we got back on Friday afternoon or Friday night, and then Saturday immediately he had to go to the hospital because he had an infection. So everybody, when you're 93 years old, you get sick, you get infections, you get all of the things that happen. And so I'd been dealing with that a lot. He was in the hospital for a week. That's another thing. While I was sick, we were dealing with that. He was in the hospital for about a week and then back to his assisted living. But he's just not doing good, which is to be expected when you're that old and you're getting sick every now and then. So that's been a handful to deal with. But to live to 93... And he's been talking about it a lot lately. I've lived a good life. I've lived a long life. Yeah, Granddad, you have lived a long life. Most people don't get to that age. But yeah, so we're in the middle of dealing with all that too. What else? I was supposed to have a guest on tonight, but he was not able to make it. So maybe later this week he will come by and we'll have a chat. We'll chat it up. But yeah, vacation, remodeling Holliswood Studios, sick grandfather, vacation, Other Tim Hollis. That's pretty much what's been going on around here. I did do some writing out kind of a summary of the next Chester Boom episode. I don't know if you guys have been listening to those. It's been kind of fun, just reminiscing on all that stuff. I don't know. It's for some people, and some people it's not. If you don't really like it, don't listen to it. I will not be offended. And Jeremy, if you are listening, you have an open invitation to come and talk on that. Since those of you who listen to that, then me and Jeremy were the masterminds behind Chester Boom, if you could call it that. But yeah, that's what's been going on. I've been swimming. It's been really hot in Nashville. Today is like 90. It was like 98, 99 earlier today. That's really hot. My pool does not have a cooler on it, so my pool was probably 83 or 84, which is, I guess, an ideal temperature for people to go swimming, but I prefer it a little bit colder than that. But so there's been a lot of swimming over here at Holliswood Studios. But that's all I got for you today. I hope that you're enjoying the shows. I've kind of been combing through the past, I guess this will be episode 29. We're almost at 30 episodes, and I've been kind of redoing some of the video and audio on these older episodes because I've gotten a little bit better at editing and gotten a little bit better with managing the sound. So I've been kind of replacing the files with the newer stuff so that it sounds better and looks better. And, it's funny to see how this has gone from, talking about Fairview and all this kind of stuff to just kind of a shit show, honestly, with, all of our normal people that come in here and laugh and have a good time, which that was my intention for this to begin with. Seeing myself trying to be proper in front of certain people has been pretty funny as I go back and watch some of these episodes, and some of them are better than others, but it's crazy to think that we got about 30 of them now. So thank you to everybody that has come on, and everybody that's been listening. Usually when I have a guest on here, I don't have time to thank everybody and tell them to go visit the www.thefairviewsocialpodcast.com. Go check that out. Check out the Chester Boom songs on Spotify, Apple Music, Amazon, wherever you get your music. So you can check those songs out there. And you can check the podcast out on all the podcast streaming platforms, which I'm assuming that you already know that because you're hearing this. So continue to do that. But thank you, everybody, for the support. It's a fun hobby to do. There's no expectation for it to be anything other than a hobby here. And I just really appreciate everybody's listening and listening to me ramble on about whatever. So with that, I will leave you. And hopefully we will have another guest coming up here, I don't know, maybe a few days. As we go into the fall, we'll have some cool episodes. So thank you guys. Visit the website, check out the Boom songs, and we'll see you next time. Thanks.